If last month I tackled my physical TBR, this month I definitely tackled my digital TBR because I cut that thing in half. Hello friends, it is Friday. I'm very excited for this video. It is my monthly, hopefully usually, reading wrap up, and I read so many digital manga last month that I'm just like, wow, like my physical manga read pile is really tiny, and I didn't realize how much digital manga I had read in hindsight until I was looking at my reading journal of what I had wrote down, and I'm just like, wow, it was a big month for digital manga. And of course, I'm going to be talking about all of those titles, spoiler free. I read a total of 36 manga volumes last month that I know of. I think I'm actually missing one that I didn't write down because I've been doing a reading journal with my friend Bizarre. This is what my page looks like over here. I absolutely love it. It has been so much fun. This was last month's page, plus I actually had to go on the other page because I read so much manga. Didn't read as much as I did last month, which I sort of anticipated that, but the reason I read so much digital manga is because I was really sick. Like, my daughter got sick with a stomach bug, and then I didn't really get hit with the stomach bug, but I didn't sleep for like 2 or 3 days because she was being sick throughout the night, and then like that weekend I just got hit hard with all of the cold-like symptoms, and it took me a good week to recover. So what I was doing was just reading on my iPad a bunch of digital manga that I have been meaning to read for quite some time. I think I still have one title that's been on my digital TBR for a really long time, but I was really happy that I finally read series that I have been meaning to read for such a long time. Let's go ahead and I'll go in order that I read them, even though I'm like, one of them I want to talk about now, but I'm like, let me go in order. So this was a digital arc that I received from Viz Media through Beneath the Tangles. Thank you, Beneath the Tangles and Viz Media. And that is the art book of The Art of Demon Slayer. I was on the fence of actually pre-ordering this because I love Demon Slayer, but as I've shared before, I have not read the manga, though I have plans to actually change that after reading this because I deeply enjoyed it. Really, the biggest takeaway I had from this, or like the biggest thing that I loved about this, is really being able to get to know the manga creator and see their thoughts into the inside process of when they were designing the covers, of when they were doing certain pages. It was very eye-opening and very thankful that the manga creator never gave up, especially when you hear their backstory. I definitely feel, since this is an art book, that the art really just shined. There was a lot of pages that just had white backgrounds, and I thought it was a really nice touch because you're able to focus and zone in on the details of the clothing, because Demon Slayer has some of the most unique character art design that I've seen. So it was really nice to be able to appreciate those finer details because of the way that they formatted the art book. It was really cool. And of course, you get some like special exclusive artwork that was so incredibly nice. I definitely would be very interested in getting this physically because it was just such a nice read, and I loved all the commentary that we got from the manga creator. Another arc that I read, this is through Tokyopop, is My Coworker Has a Secret. This was my favorite read of last month, and I really thought about, okay, there are other titles and other series that I actually read more than once, but when it came to My Coworker Has a Secret, I felt this was my favorite read of this month, or last month, I mean, specifically because I felt so incredibly validated with our heroine. I related so incredibly much to Akira, I believe is her name. No, I take that back. Her name is Akari, I believe that is her name. But I felt so validated because this story centers around her. She is an office worker, and the thing is she keeps her secret that she is very much an otaku, and she is actually struggling very much financially because she buys all this merch and these event tickets for her favorite idol. I think his name is Renren. I just related so much to so many of her actions. I mean, I'm not going in debt for my pins and my merch. Definitely no. My husband would stop that ASAP. But just, we could spend our money differently in maybe a better way. But like Akari says, we love whoever that we are supporting. In her case, it's Renren. In my case, it's my favorite manga characters through pens. And I loved it. I love the validation that I felt in seeing myself so strongly represented in a character. This book was absolutely hilarious. I laughed so much reading this. It was a very, very enjoyable reading experience. I need volume 2 ASAP and was very excited to see that Right Stuff has the second volume up for pre-order, and it comes out in July. Like, I need it. It's so very good. I highly recommend it. It just, all around, it was a fantastic read. I could easily see this being one of my favorite reads of this year for sure. Okay, I believe that wraps up all of the digital arcs that I received. So these are just manga that this one was a manga I have on my Kindle, and that is Cells at Work Friends. I still have not read the Cells at Work manga, but I love the anime. I've seen it quite a few times. I still have not seen the second season. I don't know what's up with that, but I really love Red Blood Cell and White Blood Cell, and I thought it interesting because Cells at Work Friends actually centers around Killer T Cell. Killer T Cell was not my favorite in the series because he's just so mean. I really love the tropes that were played out in this volume because it plays on the fact that Killer T Cell, he's very grumpy, he's very mean, but deep down he really just wants to make friends and he just wants to be liked by everybody, and he has such soft spots for certain girly things. That was very, very cute and just very nice. It was a fun read. I don't know if I would get the second volume at full price, but definitely I bought this when it was 99 cents during some kind of sale that Kodansha was doing, and if they should do that for more volumes in the series, I would definitely pick it up. There was one scene that one chapter that I'm just like, why? I felt it was really inappropriate. Outside of that, it was really fun just seeing Killer T Cell, him struggle with he's like, man, I was mean again today, or he's like, I said that in a really rude way, or like he's trying to make conversation. It was very refreshing and made me like Killer T Cell even more, so I think that's a win because I think that was the whole point. The big read for this month, and was also one of my favorites, is Loving Yamada at level 999. Oh, I love this. I love this. I will not gush too much about it because I do have a video review up if you'd like to check it out. The anime is coming and I'm here for it. I am ready. I actually read, so I think volumes 1 through 6 are on the Mangamo app, and I read volumes 2 through 6 twice because there's just something so special about this story. It's very chill. It's very relaxing. There's great communication, so you're not getting all of this shoujo drama or anything like that. I love Akane, our heroine, so very much. Yamada is a great hero. He's very much a gentleman, and I really love the progression of the romance. Again, if you want more thoughts on this with no spoilers, please check out that video review because I loved it. I loved it. In fact, I'm like, I would read it again just because it's so relaxing and just such a comforting story to me. For the next one, I read volumes 1 and 2 of The Springtime of My Life Began With You, and I wish I would have gotten volumes 3 through 5 because volumes 1 and 2 were amazing. I really, really enjoyed this series, or what I've read of this series. Our main girl, her name is Shiro, and she is a very much introverted girl. She loves reading, but of course, the most popular guy, he's dared in a Batsu game, and he comes up to her and he's like, will you go out with me? And she's like, you don't have to do this. I know that you were just being dared just to go do this. But come to find out, they start growing closer. She ends up genuinely falling in love with him, and you learn some things about him, and it was very, very good. In fact, the end of volume 2 was so unexpected. I did not expect the events, maybe not events, but a decision that she makes. I was not prepared for that. I was like, this is so different from what I feel like is the cliche in shoujo manga, that it did not go that route. I was so on the fence of getting volume 3 ASAP. I decided to wait, and I'm hoping that it's going to go on sale because I just really, really loved the direction of the series and our main character and the growth that we saw, and definitely the writing aspect was really nice and how writers were represented in this story. And I would be very curious to see where things go when it comes to our main girl, when it comes to the romance, and just the overall story. It was very wonderful and would definitely highly recommend. Next up, I finally read a manga I have been very curious about. I only read volume 1, and that is Our Precious Conversations. I feel really conflicted on this one because I really liked the characters, I think it was, but I didn't love the story. I thought the characters were great. I would definitely want to keep reading for the characters, but I just did not enjoy all of the conversations, and that's the whole part of the story. And I definitely don't think it's a bad story or anything. The art is absolutely gorgeous, and again, I really, really love the characters. I love the development of the romance, but I just wasn't as engaged in their conversations. I wanted them to do other things, I guess, besides just talk. I don't know. I'm not really sure what I was wanting, but it wasn't what it was unfolding. That is not the biggest thing that I wanted. I might try and pick it up again to see if I want to continue the series, because again, I love the characters, but at this time, I don't think I'm going to come back to it right away, and maybe it was just that day that I just wasn't feeling this. For the next volume 1 that I read, it is I Fell in Love After School. I have wanted to read this for such a long time because it's the only, well, it's not in stock, it's digital only, but it's one of the only shoujo manga I know of that centers around volleyball, because our main girl, she doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. She's very unmotivated, and so her brother basically ropes her into being a volleyball manager. But part of what she has to do is she has to convince this one guy who was a very great volleyball player in middle school, I think it was, and he wants wants him to be part of the team, so our main girl has to try and convince him. And as she convinces him, she starts having feelings for him. I enjoyed this first volume. I feel like it didn't quite live up to my expectations, but I know that the time that I read this, I was really, really tired. That's when I was having really bad sinus pressure and sinus headaches. So I don't know if it was a mood thing because the art was absolutely stunning. The volleyball scenes are everything I was desperately hoping for, and I love the volleyball manager aspect. Those really delivered in the ways that I was desperately hoping. But it maybe what it was is not just the day. Part of what has me very hesitant to continue this series is that you can definitely see there's a love triangle right from the get-go. And I actually really like both guys, and I don't know if my heart can handle that kind of anxiousness moving forward. Like, I really, really don't know. Despite that I like the main girl, despite that I like the story itself and the characters, that angst, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it because I'm like, one of these guys, they're going to get their heart broken, and I am not ready for that. The next shoujo manga I read is A Springtime with Ninjas, and I was so excited because this is by the same manga creator that did Boss Bride Days, which I do have a video review of if you'd like to check that one out as well. This was really good. I love Boss Bride Days more, and I think it's just because of some of the tropes I really enjoyed. What was so great about this one is it has a childhood friends to lovers trope, which I also have a video. We did that, featured that last month in one of the top 5 Wednesdays. This would have been perfect for it. And our main girl, oh my goodness, this is a fun story, okay? This is just a fun, don't take it seriously kind of story because she's very much a damsel in distress. There are some things I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me, but it's a fun story. It has fun ninjas, and that's part of where the childhood friends to lovers trope comes in. That was also the part that I'm like, that doesn't quite make sense to me, but I still really enjoyed it. It was a fun story. I had a great time. I'm so glad that I read it. I could see myself coming back to this if I just need something fluffy with a damsel in distress with some great humor and some great action scenes and a very slow burn romance. It was fun. I really, really enjoyed this one too. Man, the only manga that I had marked as I did not finish was your boy Kong Ming, and let me just explain why. The manga was not bad. The manga really closely, or the anime I should say, really closely follows the manga because the anime last year was in one of my favorite, or was my favorite anime of last year. I deeply loved it. It has a special place in my heart. Was very impacted by it. The manga does not capture the music the same way. Again, they're the same, like when you compare them, same story, same elements, same characters, nothing is drastically different, but the impact was just not quite the same. It's just not quite the same. I feel like the music in the anime really makes the manga. They did such a great job, and so I just decided I'm not going to continue with the manga, even though I was so heartbroken, because usually if I really enjoy an anime, I like to get the manga and read it, but with this one, I just decided I'm going to stick with the anime. No, I will say in the manga, we didn't need that one fan service scene. We did not need that, and that was not in the anime, and I appreciate the animators did not include that. I read a one-shot called Lush on Izuki. This recently came out just this last month. It was only like 31 pages. It was really interesting. It's about a young father. He is taking care of his newborn baby because his wife is in the hospital, and follow him throughout the day that he is having. And it was really interesting. It was not my favorite. It was different than I expected, but the art was amazing. The story kept me engaged because I read it all the way through and I was like, it's over. I wouldn't have minded reading more. So that's a quick one shot I would recommend. After so much time, I finally tried it, and that is Ace of the Diamond, and it was everything I expected. I loved it right from the beginning. Our main hero, Sawamura is his last name, was so great. He is very different because I've heard people will say if you like Haikyuu, you'll like Ace of Diamond. If you like Ace of the Diamond, you'll like Haikyuu. But I feel like our heroes are like night and day. They're very different. Not like Tsuzuki and Hinata night and day though. Sawamura, I feel like he's very confident in himself, and he's very much like, he's already good at baseball, and he just wants to play baseball with his buddies, but he sort of gets he gets scouted out by this really prestigious high school. He just has this awakening of baseball and how he could bring his baseball to a whole other level, even though he's like, I just want to play baseball with my buddies. So I enjoyed seeing his struggle when it came to that, even though I did get emotional. I did get emotional one of them. I was like, oh my goodness. I just felt like this manga is representing what the sports genre is all about, in that if you're not playing with your teammates, then you have lost the sight of what is most important in playing, in this case, baseball. Like, yes, it was very, very good. I don't know if I'm going to continue it, which is makes me so heartbroken to say because I deeply loved it, but it's 41 volumes, and unless there's a sale, I can't justify paying $10.99 per volume because it's only available digitally, and this is one time I desperately wish it was physically printed. It'd be so nice to hold this in my hands. The art is fantastic. I never had any issues of like what is going on in this baseball story because I'm not familiar with baseball. Everything about it was fantastic, and I'm just like, I really want to read more, but I don't want to pay that much money for a digital manga series. For my last digital read, it was Papa and Daddy's Home Cooking, and this was so good. I feel like if you like Buddy Daddies, the anime, this is like the domestic version of that, and a much more chill version because we don't have any hitmen or anything like that. I loved it though. I read the first volume and I was like, I wish there were more volumes available because I read it on the Mangamo app. I love the two dads. I love the kids. I love the inner story working, I guess you could say, because it's very much a food manga, but there is a lot of heart and there's some emotions to this, and I definitely am eager to read volume 2. I did see it's available on Amazon, so you could check it out on the Mangamo app. I don't know how many chapters you can read for free, but you also can check it on Amazon, and again, I would definitely recommend it. I was so hungry after I read this, and I was glad that the end actually had recipes of how to make the things one of the dads was learning how to make throughout the story. It was so great. Finally, we are on to the physical manga, and the first read that I read last month was The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. This was really cute. If you like Miss Miyaza and would love to get closer to you, chances are you are going to enjoy this. Though, interestingly enough, I was like, I forgot I read this, so I'm like, I'm not sure what that says about me, but it was a very cute slice of life. The girl here keeps forgetting her glasses, and it's just them basically getting closer through some really fun shenanigans. I'm a little bit hesitant if I'm going to continue. I was going to plan to, but I read something else, and I'm like, I don't know. But our main guy, Komura, I believe is his name. Yes, he is such a gentleman, and I really loved how respectful he is of her, how he really likes her, and how he just wants to help her, even if things sort of like not backfire, but he's like, oh my goodness, she's super close right now. It was a very sweet read. I think I'm gonna give it one more volume and then see where it goes from there. The next book I read I actually don't have on hand, and that is Mythical Beast Investigator. It was volumes 1 and 2, which I read. The series is complete. This was a really interesting series. I really enjoyed volume 1, and then I read volume 2, and there was a huge plot twist, and I was so in shock. I could not get over that. I didn't expect it. I didn't see it coming. I don't know how I feel. I should have reread it before I had to return to my library, but I think if you enjoy Rosie and the Labyrinth, I think you would enjoy this one because it does have that mystical aspect, but it also has the mystery interwoven with supernatural, paranormal-like characters. Even though there are mythical beasts in this one, I would recommend it. Just brace yourself for volume 2 and that plot twist. The next thing I read was Mission Yozakura Family Volume 3. Oh my goodness, I am just here for the shenanigans that Taiyo goes through. I love the humor, and I was a little bit bummed that the humor, I think, is going to be dissipating a little bit given some of the darker things that happen near the end. I feel very conflicted because one of my favorite things about this series is just how fun it is. Like, I literally just want to see what Taiyo's going to have to go through next and what he's going to have to do to, like, survive. Like, that is ultimately my favorite thing, though. There was a really great romance chapter in here that was like, yes, I didn't know this is what I needed, but this is what I needed. It was very good. And I'm just going to call it now. I can't remember this guy's name. He is going to be a fan favorite when the anime comes out because he was amazing in the manga. He's very, very cool. I love him and Taiyo's interactions and how things unfold with them. It was very good. This was definitely another excellent volume. I have up to, I think, volume 6 pre-ordered with volume 7 in my cart because I just have really, really enjoyed this series. It's just fun. It's just fun. So I hope it continues to stay that way and doesn't get too dark because I'm going to be super sad if it does. After months and months of waiting, I finally read one of my most anticipated manga of the year. I gushed about in this video here, and that is Gat Papa. Oh my goodness. It was everything I had hoped it would be and more. Oh man, it was so good. I loved it so much. I love it so much. I will definitely be having a giveaway at some point on this channel. Not sure when, but I have 2 copies and I'm like, yes, somebody needs to be gifted this wholesomeness because it is so wholesome. It is so sweet. It's a colored manga. The art is beautiful. I love this story. I mean, I don't know what I can say, so I don't give spoilers, but I highly recommend it if you want some wholesome familyness, some very sweet romance, and a beautiful, fun little girl. It's so good. It's so good. I've read this 2 or 3 times this month because I just could not get enough of this and how much I enjoy it. Very beautiful and everything I wanted and more. The next one that I read, I don't have this physically anymore, and it was really, really hard. And I read volume 1 of Marmalade Boy. Oh man, of the collector's edition, and this was hard. I decided to donate this volume to my library. I love Miki. I love her as a heroine so much. I thought she was amazing. I really enjoyed the art. I would say I enjoyed the crazy shenanigans that are in this story. It's so bizarre and it was very interesting. It wasn't quite as dramatic as I was expecting. Definitely lots of drama, but there was just one scene near the end that got me, and I did not know it had that trope. And I asked the people on Discord, does this trope continue? And they said yes, and they told me some things about it, and I just did not feel comfortable continuing the series. I was so heartbroken. I was really, really crushed because I really enjoyed this first volume. I love the art. I enjoyed the story itself. Like I said, I love Miki. She was amazing, but I just I couldn't get over that one trope. I was like, was fine with everything else, but when that trope entered the story, I couldn't go for it. So I don't know if I could recommend it or not. Like I said, I love Miki. I would just continue to read for her and her alone if it didn't have the really uncomfortable thing that I thought was very uncomfortable for me personally. This probably was my most anticipated seinen manga of this year, and it was so good, and that is The Invisible Man and His Soon-to-Be Wife. I love this. I've read this twice. It was everything I didn't know I needed, and interesting enough, it is sort of like a colored manga. It is, but it isn't. Like, we just have this blue. It doesn't have any other color except for black and white. I am so here for this. I need volume 2 ASAP, and I'm like, why is there not a pre-order link for the next volume? If you're looking for a very great slow burn romance that's just perfection. I just felt it was very, very good. Trying to think of what I could say that's not spoilers, but it exceeded my expectations as well. Another one I deeply enjoyed and was like, you know what, we're just gonna reread it again because it was just that good. I hope we see Dark Elf. I need to see more of Dark Elf in the upcoming volumes. Like, please do not get rid of him on a creator because he was one of my favorites. He's a very fun and interesting character, and I was surprised that there's a lot of fantasy elements to this story that I was not expecting. I won't say anymore because I thought that was a nice, pleasant surprise. So I definitely recommend this one. Very, very good, and just, oh, I'm so excited. I need the next volume ASAP. Another favorite of this month, and that is Villains Are Destined to Die Volume 2. This series continues to be one of the best villainous manga I have read. Well, manhwa, I should say. I feel like manga and manhwa, like all of that, it's one of the best, if not the best. I read this, and just like with Volume 1, I was holding my breath. I really thought Penelope was gonna die. I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is it. I'm like, this is it. And whew, thankfully it was not it, but I was super afraid for her, and I feel like that it has not been captured in any other villainous manhwa or manga that I have read thus far. Penelope really just knows how to live on edge. I really admire her courage and how she's able to leave her bedroom, because if I was her, I would never leave. I would just stay fearful in my little room and hope that, you know, I don't suddenly leave this world. The art is gorgeous. It's stunning. The characters are engaging and gripping, and I need volume 3. I'm ready for it. This manga was why I could not enjoy I Think the Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses was because I read volume 3 of Miss Meows and Would Love to Get Closer to You, and nothing can top this wholesomeness. It is so good. This volume was perfection. We have so many good things in this that I'm just like, my heart, like I need volume 4 ASAP. I cannot wait for it to release. This didn't end on a cliffhanger, but there are some things that happen so good. If you are reading this series and you have not gotten this volume or read it yet, you need to read it. It's perfection. It's so good. It's gonna make things really good. And that's all I can say because I will actually go into spoilers. Very good. Highly recommend it. Cannot get enough of this series. And last but not least, I'm so excited I was able to read this. I didn't think I was going to be able to, but I read volume 3 of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, and it was everything. It was everything. I'm really enjoying this monthly reading of this manga. With this volume, I'm so on the fence right now of getting the box set. I really want it because I loved this volume. I love this volume so much that I'm like, I would get this volume alone just because of how it impacted me. We learned some things, but something that Hanako said about forgiveness really hit me really hard, and I just was like, dude, my whole view of you has changed. I mean, I already really liked him already, but after that, just it was it was a big change for me, and I just was really touched by what he said and his actions, his mannerisms, that I'm like, I need answers, yes, but I love this volume. Like, it was so good, not just because of that specific scene and what he says, but I love this character. I know you can't see them, but are they here? Here we go. This character here, oh my goodness. I was like, he's up in the favorites now. He was absolutely amazing. It was so good. I was about to say some spoilers. I'm like, no, don't do it, because I do feel like going in blind to these volumes has been very satisfying and very, very rewarding. So I feel like maybe I'll give one more volume. I have loved the series. I never expected I would love the series as much as I do, but I'm like, I need more ASAP. I don't know if I can continue one volume a month, because I was like, why didn't I get volume 4? Well, more of, why didn't my library have volume 4? They have volume 5, but they didn't have volume 4. And I'm like, I need the next volume, especially with the ending. It's very, very good, and I'm so glad, manga community, that you encouraged me to read this. This was a great way to end the month. In fact, while My Coworker Has a Secret, it was my favorite read of this month, I definitely feel like Gat Papa and Loving Yamada were like my second, third, but I'm like, this volume of Hanako-kun is up there. It's in my top 5 favorite reads of this month, or last month. I really, really enjoyed it, and it just sealed the deal of like me wanting more of this series, seeing where it goes. The art's wonderful, the characters are wonderful, and it just keeps getting better and better. And that, my friends, wraps up all of the 36 volumes that I read this month. Like I said, so many digital manga titles, but it was really cool. I know not everybody loves digital manga, but I was really excited to conquer my backlog and slash that TBR in half. That was a very satisfying feeling. It was a great month of reading, and really enjoyed so many of the things that I picked up and that I tried. So many favorites I feel like came out of the last month, and I'm looking forward to another great month of reading for the month of March. But I would love to hear from you, friends. What are some manga titles that you read this last month, or maybe some book titles? Also, did I read any of your favorites, or are there any manga titles that I featured today that you're looking forward to just picking up or trying? Let me know, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!